What's up, my friends? In today's video, we will meet Adam Roberts, the co-founder of ANRE Real Estate Group. From leading at GE Aviation to pioneering a transformative real estate journey, Adam is a dynamic investor. Initially in single-family properties, he shifted to large multifamily syndications and later embraced mortgage note and private lending for diversification. As a coach and mentor, Adam guides others in real estate investment. He, along with his wife, Emily, inspires a wealth building mindset in DFW area. Let's get ready to explore Adam's extraordinary journey to the real estate. Welcome to the show, Adam. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Albert. Thanks for having me. I'm honored to join. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Do you telling the audience a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so originally grew up in Pennsylvania in the Philadelphia suburbs. I went to school for mechanical engineering and later joined the workforce, like you said, working for GE. I worked for about 10 years in industry, various engineering operations roles in the aerospace division of GE. And pretty soon realized that, that might not be my calling. That might not be exactly what I was going to do for the rest of my life. In fact, my wife, Emily, and I were living on the West Coast when GE divested our division, right? And we went along with it. And with that, kind of had the opportunity to explore some other things. Relocated to Texas, started buying some real estate. And that was really a blessing because that's what we're now doing full time is buying real estate and real estate type assets, and so it's been a great journey.
Oh, yeah. It looks like you already have a great accomplishment before you get into real estate. You said at that moment your career you have been pursuing might not be good for the rest of your life. Why? So I believe there's something question mark or kind of conflict in your mind trigger the thought.
Yeah. I think for Emily and I, the experience of becoming a corporate divestiture, just kind of being, a number, if you will, part of a transaction. We were corporate athletes. We're moving up the corporate ladder. I lived in about 6 different places working for GE, so we were very, very mobile. And once the divestiture happened, I think we realized that you can't really rely on that type of career path to support your family or your lifestyle. And I had always been interested in real estate. In fact, my father introduced me to it. He was not a real estate investor, but he introduced me to it, oddly enough. And so after we went through that experience, it was very clear to us that we had to do something different.
Oh, cool. Wow. Your family background, your father's influence looks interesting. So, but you mentioned your father didn't do any real estate investment. So then what part of the story that get you influenced? Is that your father have some kind of real estate related skill or yes, tell me about that.
Yeah, he no, he was a company man. He also worked in manufacturing and engineering. So he was a company man. He worked in the automotive industry for Ford Motor Company. But he introduced me to Robert Kiyosaki, read his books. And although he was at a point in his life where, he had a family to support, and I don't think he was as financially flexible to get into real estate, although he had an interest in it. And I can remember when I was leaving home, going to university, one of the things that he helped me with was just a budget, right? I was going to be on my own, going to be paying for my own stuff. And he helped me with that. And it was pretty cool because the budget it was like a 10-year budget. And every year he added a rental property to my budget. And it was very cool to see at the end of the 10 years what that did to the spreadsheet. It was very neat, right? At one
Yeah.
point, it was very obvious that I was making almost as much as I would make at a job, and it was just kind of eye opening how that happened. So I took that spreadsheet and we turned it into a reality.
Oh, cool. Bingo, right? The Kiyosaki. Rich Dad Poor Dad every real estate investor is coming from that route, and
Yeah.
then it end up to be number cash flow. Does this thing make sense? Is it going to be compound interest over long course of time? And everything work out after that kind of a calculation.
That's
I
right.
really love your story, by the way. And during this journey, how did your mindset and investment strategy evolve along with your wife, Emily, over this kind of entrepreneur journey?
Yeah, we went through a couple of mindset shifts. I think first and foremost, of course, having more of a technical background, I think we wanted to understand the nuts and bolts of everything, a little bit of analysis paralysis. And so we read a lot. We went to some real estate seminars, but ultimately, when we first got into real estate investing in the single family, arena, we just did it on our own. We went out and looked for homes that needed, a fix and flip, or homes that were in good areas that would make good rentals. And we just really experienced I'd say our journey was more of an experience journey where we would try different things. We would buy in different neighborhoods. And we would always kind of apply the same mindset where, hey, if we needed to build up capital, we would improve the property and sell it. If it was a good cash flow, then we would keep it. And really the mindset shift that takes place after you understand the application and experience it, really, jump off the fence and experience it is really a great thing.
I'm with you, like in particular, how to interpret the mindset shift. To me, for example, the analysis paralysis thing sometimes could happen as well. At the beginning, I feel that for certain things, oh, mindset is changing. But actually, it did not totally change until you take action to do it. Just like Tony Robbins, of course, like take massive action. And I really like your experience we mentioned about try different things and try out. It works and work. It will not work and then continue trying, but never stop. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about your early journey about the real estate investment. From your bio, and you mentioned about your early investment of single property, single family investments. So for example, past 10 years, single family has been very, very profitable per unit. The cash flow is good. Appreciation is phenomenal. How you shift the mindset from your single family investment to later, like the large multifamily syndication, the why and everything. I believe there's a why behind.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
and how.
I think, no, it truly is a mindset journey. I think you learn very quickly in the single family business. You can scale the single family business. However, it's quite linear. If you operate on your own, then you can only move as quickly as you can move. And, every house that you add to your portfolio, you might, make a couple $100 a month of cash flow. So, it's a linear equation, right? If I'm thinking like an engineer, it's a linear equation. At some point, if you want to grow massive wealth in single family, you just have to build systems and hire employees, and you have to have a skill set around that, right? And a desire to build that. And I think it's great. I've met a lot of people who have done that very successfully, and they're great people, and they're very successful. For Emily and I think it was more, we wanted to target something a little bit more sophisticated. We desired, I at the time, dating back to like 2016, when we were doing some single family investing, I was still working full time. Emily was doing real estate investing full time, but I was working a job. And so in order for us to both work in the business, we had to figure something out a little different. And so we explored various avenues, different types of commercial real estate investing, areas where we could dip our toe in the water. I mean, at this point, the biggest investment we had made is like a $200,000 house, right? So, but when we started to explore multifamily and realized that you could really scale that business because the systems were really already in place, and you could hire the companies and hire the people, to the vendors to help you with your vision. It just made so much sense. And you could, go from buying 10 single family homes or 10 units a year to buying 1,000 units a year. It's really amazing how quickly you can scale that type of business. So for us, it was a good, it was kind of a good reminder that we're always evolving in our investment journey.
Yeah, yeah, and talking about the comparison of these two, like single family and large size multifamily apartment building, they seems to be like very different animal per your story and then your impression about these two type of sector. One is more like a self-employed type of like landlord things,
Landlord, yeah.
and then
Hmm.
yeah, another type is more like a real business. You just like running a system, a business with all kinds of professional skills that needed to run that kind of a business. You serve as like a CEO or project manager, and then you hire the personnel that you need and put them into the systems, and then run as a whole mechanisms.
It's very different. Yeah, and you know what's really nice is, let's take property management for example. That's a thriving business, really in both spaces, to be honest with you. But what's nice about multifamily is those businesses, those property management companies, they're already set up, right? So you don't have to go in and buy a large multifamily community and worry about how you're going to manage it. I mean, that can be hired out, right?
Yeah.
Quite rapidly. It doesn't take long, and so yeah, we just kind of looked at it and said, well, if we really want to build, to your point, a business, what makes more sense, right? And it just made more sense to quit being a landlord, essentially.
Yeah. Since the single family and multifamily are smaller scale properties, they all are falling to real estate contact. Then what kind of things you think you could learn from like your earlier investment from single family to multifamily? Essentially, what kind of a similarity? Now we're talking about similarity.
Yeah.
You could borrow or steal from your previous experience.
Well, really, the biggest thing is how to work with the residents, how to work with the tenants, the people, the people part of the business, right? Um, that part doesn't change. You're still providing a home for somebody or for some family to live in. And so, what was really nice about making the transition from single family to multifamily is we had, a small rental portfolio, and we were self managing the single family homes, and so I dealt with all of the leasing and the tenant issues, and all, you name it, right? Actually, that was more. I'll give credit to Emily. That was more Emily's role, but we dealt with all of that, so that made us more, I would say, that allowed us to understand what the multifamily property manager goes through on a day-to-day basis. So we know how they operate, how they should operate, what they deal with the residents, how they, provide a service to them. And so that helps the relationship between us and the management company. I know what they're doing, and they know that I've been there, and I've worked in that field, so to speak. So that's a really big one.
Yeah, then from what I hear is more like from more hands-on to more leverage. Now, previously in single family, probably more hands-on handling this landlord type of a jobs. That's probably a lot of hassle. But now in multifamily, large size apartment business, you leverage a whole many companies to handle that. You know what things you need to handle, and then you leverage them to handle those kind of things.
That's correct, right? You
Yeah.
you rely on their strength.
Yeah.
And if you work with a good management company that has a lot of experience, you can learn a lot from them. And to your point that you made earlier, I more or less I act as the CEO, and I'm just kind of giving the guidance, setting the expectations, the business plan, and then reviewing the performance and working with the management company hand in hand to make sure we have successful outcomes.
Cool, cool. And since this kind of a project usually are large projects, right? Even you leverage, I believe there could be some challenge moment during the asset management. Can you talk about a little bit or share some of the experience, those kind of a challenge moment and what lesson learned you get for overcoming this kind of a challenges?
Yeah. I think as asset manager, probably one of the more challenging aspects of the role specifically is just ensuring that the management company who hires the staff to work at the property, ensuring that those are the right people for the property. In the business, we always say that, hey, if you have a good on-site team, then life becomes easier. And it really is true. We've dealt with, properties where the staff has not been the right team. It's kind of twofold challenge. I mean, first of all, the performance struggles, the financial performance struggles of the asset. And secondly, it tends to take quite a bit of time to rectify that. Right. So it's kind of a twofold issue. You want to get things, improved, and you want to have, recovery plans or what have you. And it just takes time. Right. And sometimes the second time, I've had properties where the second, staff that we've put at the property wasn't the right staff. So, but when you do have the right team, things tend to go really, really well. And so that's why it's such a focus.
Yeah, I feel you like when you're saying try to make the financial aspect worse, and then you probably try to influence manage the company's team to to work well. At the same time, from like say persons, human beings perspective, how you interact with them so that you make them feel good and feel good about a job. As we mentioned earlier, this is like a people business, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We really focus heavily on that, all the way down to the resident, really. We want to make sure that the residents feel at home and have a place that they want to stay. But that also starts with how the employees feel about, where they work. These assets are to your statement earlier, they're very large communities. They're very, expensive. And so we hire these teams to take care of our expensive investments. And so we do all sorts of things. We buy breakfast for the staff. I'll generally take each property team out to lunch once or twice a quarter, so that we can just, catch up on things and understand how things are going in the marketplace. Good way for me to stay connected to the business and how things are going. And to your point, I think the teams appreciate that, right? I think they work really hard to make sure that the properties are performing well, et cetera. And so it's just a little bit of appreciation from our side goes a long way.
Cool, cool. Let's talk about your continuing journey after the multifamily syndication. I know that you are also investing in Note, this kind of a portfolio. And I know that Note is one of the things that Robert Kiyosaki liked. He mentioned in his Rich Dad Poor Dad book. So what is your motivation to continue to expand to this mortgage note and private lending? It's a sort of a real estate sector, but it's sort of different.
Yeah. It is related. I think our motivation, quite candidly, was cash flow. A lot of real estate investments that we've done over the past several years, they're going to be great investments. However, the cash flow has been constrained by, all sorts of things: interest rates, insurance premiums, property taxes. As the property owner, of course, you're succumbed to many of the economic factors that come into play when it comes to owning real estate. So cash flow for a lot of the real estate investments really, really tightened up over the past 4 or 5 years. And so, we were on the hunt for cash flow. And that's truly what a mortgage note is. I mean, it's not an equity investment at all. It's truly just a cash flow. You're investing in a monthly cash flow. And so that was really the first number one reason we became interested in it, is because we were on the search for cash flow.
Yeah, then what about a risk perspective? I believe the risk aspect is sort of different for the mortgage note investment compared to the physical asset you buy.
Yeah. That's something that I think after we initially became interested, we started to educate ourselves and read some books and understand that aspect in particular. Because as a real estate investor, one thing that I realized very quickly, as a real estate investor, I'm always taking more risk than the bank, right? Any bank who has ever allowed me to borrow money, they always kind of take the position of least risk, right? I'm the one going out there doing the work. I'm the one succumbing myself to the occupancy and the financial performance and all this. And it's truly it, right? Banks are in a position to take on less risk. And at the end of the day, it's apparent that they make the most money. So it's quite, again, another mindset shift. It's just quite interesting to be in that position.
Yeah, so from bank's perspective, this remind me like I don't remember when I heard this saying. It's like, okay, for a real estate project or property, the biggest partner actually is is not probably not the partner in your team, but the partner from bank is the
That's right.
lender.
Yeah.
So you, after you get into this field, you become not only the operator for multifamily, but you are the lender for others as well.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty neat, right? Because for 10 years, I mean, for the entire time I've been buying real estate, I always thought that the bank was, getting a raw deal because they would lend money at rock bottom interest rates. I mean, 2, 3, 4%. But no, it's the banks are actually doing quite well. And it's because of, different strategies and different banking philosophies that they employ that I wouldn't have known if we'd not got into mortgage note investing.
Yeah. So you have so many investment. How gonna balance? How gonna diversify this? For example, I remember I saw some of your tutorial YouTube video before, the educational video about investment note, and then you're talking about different type of investment, real estate investment, the note investment, even the stock investment, how you optimize your investment portfolio.
I envision, and we're still in the middle of building our note portfolio. But really, quite candidly, we went from, 95% real estate holding, our portfolio was like 95% real estate multifamily. And now we've got about 20% of our portfolio in notes. And I think, what I envision from a diversification standpoint is, just let the notes pay for the lifestyle, right? If I can get my mortgage notes to pay for most of my lifestyle, my monthly expenses, just living expenses, then you can do what you want with the equity investments, right? You can say, okay, well, I'm going to put this part of my portfolio into real estate and let it grow over time, and not have to worry about needing that money to live off of. So I think that's initially what our vision is from a diversification perspective. But just like real estate cycles, there's note cycles to some extent. So we definitely are getting smarter on that.
Yeah, okay. I really like your allocation of this kind of a portfolio. Like, and also you mentioned we need equity growth. We also need cash flow to support the daily expense, monthly expense, that is the lifestyle. And I actually heard a similar saying from other investors saying that, yeah, you need cash flow, but somehow different people realize the cash flow part with different strategy. For your part, it looks like, okay, you're using the note to realize the cash flow perspective. Probably some other investor maybe use some type of a real estate, the real physical property to realize that. So I know some people using very old property, like 100 years old property in some state, that those properties going to be hard to appreciate, but they produce strong cash flow. It's like more than 10% of the cash on cash every year.
Yeah, and if you can, if you have that type of cash flow coming in that's earning, say, 10, 11, 12%, if that becomes your spending money, then at least you're making that yield on that money. So
Cool. Okay. Let's continue. You have so many great story, great perspective. So I want our audience can hear more about your other perspective. As a coach and mentor, how do you guide individuals making informed decisions and capitalizing on passive investment in real estate?
Really, the biggest thing that I focus on for people who want to get into real estate investing, and maybe it's their first one, maybe not, but I think what's really important is to take the specific investment and understand the stress test model. And I've done this plenty of times with, mentees of mine and students. And it's really, you're never going to be presented with a bad real estate deal, right? No one's ever going to say, "Hey, Albert, look at my deal. It's terrible. Will you please invest?" Right? So we almost, as investors, we almost have to take that into our own hands and take whatever analysis or underwriting or pro forma and put it in our own language, right? And yeah, that's advice that I wish I would have taken myself on some occasions, right? Because anybody can put together the projections or the pro forma, right? We need to make sure that, hey, if the economy, takes a break for a couple years or it doesn't continue its trajectory like it has, well, is the investment still viable? Does it still work? And I think there's a lot to be learned there. You can really understand where the, pressure points are in the analysis. So that's what I tend to focus on when I'm coaching other people to make their investment decisions.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. In particular, some like the break you mentioned here, like sometimes probably this type of investment maybe reach some plateau and then kind of a flat out for a certain time frame. And even some of the component of this type of investment, for example, multifamily, the rent growth is a very, very important part. It's one driver of NOI. And if the area, the market we're looking to doesn't seem to show strong rent growth for performance and then years down the road, then it may not produce that kind of MOI, that kind of project maybe need very conservative assumption. So
Right.
things
That's right.
like that.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about market. So just real estate area involving changing market. How do you stay informed about market trends? And what advice do you have for investors to looking to identify emerging opportunities?
I subscribe to just the high growth markets. I try to there's a couple different newsletters that I subscribe to that I use to keep a pulse on where things are going, what other investors are doing. Obviously some of the bigger shops that are more institutional level investors, there's a reason to watch what they do to some extent, right? But they also don't play in some of the smaller stuff. But for us and our team, Emily and I, we try to take most of the stress out of the situation we're moving to. It's one of the reasons why we have focused so heavily on Texas. Even the past several months where the economy's been kind of slowing down a bit, it has proven to be a great place to invest in real estate. So really, subscribing to some of the markets that have high job growth, high population growth, I think has worked well for us.
Okay. And define a little bit about those kind of a market that have high job growth and those kind of a promising market.
Examples?
Yeah, examples
Yeah.
like
Yeah. So like Dallas, Houston, Austin, Phoenix, Tampa, and Atlanta, just to name a few. There's some emerging markets that I think people have been getting pretty active in, such as um, Boise, Idaho,
mm,
Salt Lake City. There's a little bit of a net migration out of the West Coast into these areas that is proving to be good for real estate investing. So those are just a few examples.
yeah, okay. Well, I feel the same. Behind this market, there's a strong population support. Like population growth is very strong, and then population growth is also indicative of our job growth. And a lot of people using this definition to define the thriving market. And I like this market too, even though those market may have some adjustment at the moment, depends on the size of adjustment, but
Sure.
in the long run, they all look promising.
I believe so.
Okay, and let's talk about your business, sort of your roadmap, your vision. What do you see your business in the future, 2 to 5 years?
So in the near term, I think we will be divesting out of many of our multifamily holdings that we acquired 2021, 2022. And my intention is to diversify. I want to, obviously, multifamily I think is a great place for investment. And so I think we'll stay very active in that space. But like we talked about before, a sizable amount of our portfolio is going to move into notes. And I'm also, the past couple of years, have been exploring triple net lease industrial investments purely from a limited partner perspective. But there's a potential to move into a more active role there, or just simply continue passive investing. But that's a space that has similar growth patterns to multifamily, and we've really enjoyed that. I would say only, maybe 15% of our portfolios there right now, but have a lot of intention to continue growing that.
Yeah, the retail triple net, these all maybe like falling to the cash flow type of investment. I heard people mention about that. It's also attract my attention. Not necessarily on my radar right now, but I'm also interested. Another type of generally strong cash flow I heard some friends mention is like mobile home park. Have you heard
Yeah.
of this kind of things? How
Yeah.
how you how you feel about that?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, we looked at a lot of mobile home parks during our transition into multifamily. I think that was one thing that we were kind of exploring. Actually made some offers, right? So we got pretty involved in it, but we never ended up acquiring anything. But yes, I agree. I think it's a great space.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this is all like good thing to help scale up like, in the pro lifestyle perspective. Oh, you're talking about lifestyle. You have a lot of things going on, a lot of business, this type of investment, that type of investment. Then how do you balance a thriving real estate career with maintaining a healthy lifestyle, especially with your family? I know you're very busy.
Yeah, yeah. I think my wife Emily and I, we do a good job of prioritizing our personal life and our family. Family first. I always spend a couple hours every morning with our daughter, right? We don't necessarily rush her off to school, and so we get a lot of family time there. After we hang up the phone here, I'm going to go pick her up. So yeah, so we get a lot of time spent with our daughter, and that's just great. We also love to travel, and so that's the one thing that real estate investing has afforded us is the lock and leave lifestyle, right? It's a very lifestyle based business. If I need to join a call or something from who knows where, I can do that. But it definitely is a lifestyle business, and so we enjoy traveling, usually taking one trip a month somewhere just to get out and experience different things. But yeah, it's business is important, but I'd say we definitely over the past several years have gotten really good at prioritizing family and lifestyle first.
Okay, cool, cool. Wow, that seems to be really, really well balanced of a work-life balance, or I may say investment life balance.
There you go. Yeah, huh?
Work-life balance, maybe more for corporate. All
Yeah.
right, so finally, what message or advice do you have for aspiring investors looking to embrace a wealth building mindset and explore new horizons in real estate?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing I would put there is don't invest all your money at once. Don't sit on the sidelines and watch, right? If you have the ability to take a small investment amount and put it to work in something that you've done some research on, then do it, right? I know, a lot of people do get caught up in the analysis and the decision making. I have several friends who have always said, "Yep, I'm going to get into a different type of investing," and they haven't been able to do it just because of their mindset. And so, but on the other side of the coin, you don't want to take your life savings and put it into an investment vehicle that you don't have experience in either. So you kind of have to balance that. But either way, the answer for both concerns is to move forward with something and to experience it.
Yeah, which means, let me summarize if my summarize is correct or not. Educated and then take massive actions,
That's
acquire and
right.
learn.
Yes.
Iteratively move forward.
Couldn't have said it
O-
better. That's right.
Okay. So before the end of the interview, do you mind share your contact information with the audience so that they can reach out to you if they want to learn more from your experience and have more questions?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very simply my email, Adam at aemultifamily.com.
Cool. I'll also put your contact information below this video descriptions, and then people can easily search and find you. Again, so I really appreciate you take this time to talk about your story and experience. I believe the audience enjoy learning from you a lot. And for the year of 2022, hope you have a more thriving business outcome and investment outcome.
All right. Thank you, Albert. Really honored to be on. So thanks for the invitation.
My pleasure.
订阅 ICOM 的资本团队邮件，关注高回报地产项目。